This is Nightline.
Tonight, Chrissy Teigen, the model and lip sync battle regular.
Shout out to everyone that goes to bed at 9 p.m.
Sharing on her self-conscious podcast that she's drinking alcohol again after announcing her sobriety in late 2020.
For 2 years, I didn't have a drop. I remember how proud I was when I hit a month, 6 months, and eventually a year. But then I started drinking again.
Part of the sober curious movement gaining traction.
It tastes so close to a real margarita.
Some calling it mindful drinking.
I was somebody who was drinking 15 plus drinks a week. Now I have like 1 or 2.
While many are embracing moderation. Plus, harrowing moments in the Sean Diddy Combs trial as the mogul's former personal assistant alleges forced labor and horrifying abuse.
Mia recounted several times she said Sean Combs assaulted her.
Combs denying all charges. What she says she saw Combs do to then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and how Prince's security team stepped in to stop her. And Quinta Brunson, the Philly native and star of Abbott Elementary.
All right, guys, so there have been 3 presidents since this one, okay? The old book. So here's where I taped in the others.
Honored by her hometown, what it means to her.
It's bigger than I could have ever imagined.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, to drink or not to drink is a question many take a stand on. But a growing number of adults, including celebrities like Chrissy Teigen, are embracing moderation. Some call it mindful drinking. Here's Nightline's Ashin Singh.
Chrissy Teigen, the fiery model and TV personality who's appeared on shows like Lip Sync Battle.
Shout out to everyone that goes to bed at 9 p.m.
And whisked her way into our kitchens with her famous cookbook series, Cravings, is getting candid about her relationship with alcohol.
For 2 years, I didn't have a drop. I remember how proud I was when I hit a month, 6 months, and eventually a year. But then I started drinking again.
Sharing on her podcast, Self-Conscious, that she's let alcohol back into her life after announcing her sobriety 4 years ago.
I know deep down it still feels wrong, and if I were to listen to my inner voice, I would stop again.
In the episode released May 15th, Chrissy describes to Holly Whitaker, the author of Quit Like a Woman, the shame she sometimes feels.
Right now, it's just all on me, and it just feels like this big burden on me and this big secret.
Chrissy's announcement sparking a conversation online, with people reflecting on their own relationships with alcohol.
So maybe you go through phases where you drink a lot and then you're like, all right, well, I feel better now. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to quit for a little while.
Going from drinking heavily to sobriety and now becoming a mindful drinker. What are your thoughts?
When celebrities talk about health experiences, it really normalizes that conversation and allows people to say, me too. And I think that's fantastic, especially when we're talking about something that is so difficult to understand.
The mom of 4's husband, singer John Legend, hearting her recent Instagram post, where she wrote in part, "My relationship with the whole process of sobriety and messing up has changed for the better. I'm deeply aware of where this can go if I let it. I guess my plan right now is to continue to be mindful with it."
The conversation around alcohol has previously been very binary. You're drinking and you're fine and don't worry about it, or your life is falling apart. We know people are not that black and white, and it gives people a lot of freedom to sort of say, they're doing that. Maybe I could do that too, or maybe I should also be looking at the role alcohol is playing.
Chrissy is just one of the many celebrities who have been public about giving up alcohol, like Anne Hathaway, Adele, Bella Hadid, and Spider-Man actor Tom Holland, who's even created his own brand of non-alcoholic beer called Beero.
Since getting sober, I can really take it in my stride and get on with it and just really enjoy every day.
Holland's not the only one in his generation cutting back on booze. A recent survey found the percent of adults under the age of 35 who say they drink dropped from 72 to 62% over the past 2 decades. It's all part of a growing conversation around mindful drinking.
It's really just simple. Between every drink, pausing, and just simply thinking to yourself, is this going to benefit me? What is the purpose of this next drink? Is it going to make me feel good? Is it going to make me feel bad? And then acting on that.
New data and studies underscoring the dangers of alcohol.
It's important to understand that there are many things in our life that are risky, and we're all taking chances. We just simply know more about alcohol now, and it doesn't mean that everyone needs to stop alcohol, but I think at the very least, everyone should be aware.
In the past few years, the Sober Curious movement has proved that you can have a blast without a buzz. People all across social media posting about Dry January and Sober October.
Where are my Dry January people at?
This is my first ever time doing Dry January, and I am actually struggling.
Popping up all across the country, booze-free dance parties.
We're here because it's an alcohol-free bar.
And bars that solely serve non-alcoholic drinks.
I just feel like alcohol is pushed at us all the time, so just stepping away from that feels really nice.
To be sober curious literally means to question every impulse, every invitation, and every expectation to drink, allowing ourselves to be curious about what's coming up for us in all of our interactions with alcohol.
Ruby Warrington actually coined the term sober curious nearly a decade ago. She decided to host events for others who were questioning the relationship with alcohol.
When I was deciding who this event was for and how to publicize it, I came up with this term sober curious to describe anybody really who had questions about drinking, who just wanted to permit themselves to have a kind of open-ended conversation about us and booze.
It tastes so close to a real margarita.
Katie Nessel is also a part of that movement. As a stay-at-home mom of two, she found herself drinking every evening to help her navigate the stresses of motherhood.
I think social media and mommy wine culture has really helped normalize your habits. You see, moms filling wine in their tumblers, going to baseball games, sneaking in alcohol. There's a lot of humor around drinking, mommy, juice sippy cups. And it normalized my habits for me. And so I thought everyone was drinking the same way I was.
She took a break from drinking and says that small change made a major difference.
I was sleeping like crap. I felt like crap. I decided to go on just a 2-week cleanse, remove alcohol, eat really healthy. And I started feeling amazing. All these issues I was having in my life, simply by removing this one thing, started to improve. And I just thought there's something here.
She says she's been inspired by celebrities like Chrissy Teigen.
Just in this last decade, we have seen such a shift in the beliefs around alcohol. And a big part of that are celebrities like Chrissy Teigen, Tom Holland, coming out, sharing their very vulnerable, open journey on alcohol and how drinking less has had a positive impact on their life, whereas before it was completely taboo.
She launched the blog and social media page, Soberish Mom, to help others also cutting back on booze.
Developed a fun, safe, judgment-free place for people, specifically parents, who want to drink a little less, but don't know where to start. So I try and provide a lot of education and resources for people who are curious about how drinking less can have a positive impact on their life. You do not have to take an all or nothing approach. You don't have to be 100% sober. Important things you're going to do.
She decided that for her, drinking in moderation is key.
I was somebody who was drinking 15 plus drinks a week. Now I have 1 or 2 or none. I'm on a 4-day vacation right now. I haven't had a drop of alcohol. It just lost its hold on me. And I think that's what a lot of women are looking for.
Our thanks to Ashin. When we come back, disturbing testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. As another alleged victim testifies the mogul sexually and physically abused her, Combs denies all charges. Welcome back. Today, explosive testimony from another alleged victim taking the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, facing the disgraced mogul, her former boss, who she accused of horrifying acts of abuse and intimidation. Combs denying all accusations. And just a warning, this story contains accounts, descriptions, and visual content of actual or alleged events that some may find disturbing. Disturbing new allegations emerging in the third week of the Sean Diddy Combs federal sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Another alleged victim of Combs taking the stand, painting a picture of alleged sexual and physical abuse and control. The former employee using the pseudonym Mia says she worked for Combs from 2009 to 2017, first as a personal assistant and then as a director of development for his film business.
Mia's importance breaks down into 2 categories for the government's case. She's an alleged victim in her own right and has the allegations of forced labor, which is a part of the criminal enterprise or that racketeering conspiracy. But she also acts as a corroborating witness to a lot of Cassie's allegations.
Before she worked for Sean Combs, Mia said she worked for Georgina Chapman, who at one time was the wife of Harvey Weinstein. Mia also worked as a personal assistant for Mike Myers, the actor.
On the stand, the prosecution asked Mia what it was like working for Combs. It was chaotic, she testified. It could be toxic. It could be exciting. The highs were really high, and the lows were really, really low. She testified that Combs ran a tight ship, saying she needed to ask permission to leave his apartment and that she went without sleep all the time. She also told the jury that at times it got violent. He has thrown things at me. He's thrown me against the wall. He's thrown me into a pool. He's thrown an ice bucket on my head. He's slammed my arm into a door. He's also sexually assaulted me. Mia testified the first time Combs sexually assaulted her was at his 40th birthday party at the Plaza Hotel. Through sobs and tears, Mia also told the jury Combs raped her inside his Los Angeles home. Testifying, she woke up to the weight of a person on top of her, who she says was Combs. Prosecutor Smizer, how did you react when that happened? Mia, I just froze. I didn't react. How did you feel? Terrified and confused and ashamed and scared. When asked why she didn't tell Combs no, Mia said, I couldn't tell him no about a sandwich. I couldn't tell him no about anything. Mia also testified that she saw Combs get violent with Cassie Ventura on multiple occasions. I've seen him attack her. I've seen him throw her on the ground. I've seen him crack her, head open. I've seen him chase her.
Mia described her relationship with Cassie as being very close, almost as sisters, from the time that she spent with her, both as a PA to Sean Combs, but also working very closely with Cassie at the behest of Combs.
Mia echoed the allegations from a previous witness about a post-Grammys party thrown by Prince. She says she defied Combs' order to stay with Cassie at a hotel and ended up running into Combs at the party. They allegedly tried to run away from him, but Mia testified that Combs caught Cassie and pinned her to the ground. The prosecutor, what happened after Mr. Combs got Cassie to the ground? Mia, he started to attack her, but Prince's security swiftly intervened. ABC News reached out to Prince's estate, but did not immediately hear back. Mia also testified about another alleged encounter when she was on vacation with Cassie and Combs in Turks and Caicos.
Mia described taking a paddleboard with Cassie out into the water, to the point that Sean Combs looked like just a small figure in the distance, running angrily up and down the beach. And she said as they waited out there, the weather started to turn in a way that she had to think to herself, is it better to face Mother Nature or Sean Combs?
Asked why she never called police to report Combs, Mia said, I believe that Puff's authority was above the police. This was also a time period, this is years and years before social media, Me Too, or any sort of example where someone had stood up successfully to someone in power such as him.
Mia had never spoken publicly about any of the sexual assaults that she described on the witness stand. She said she wanted to die not telling anybody because she was so afraid of what it would mean for her. She said she feared that she would either be harmed by Sean Combs or one of his associates, or that he would turn the story around and somehow make her a threat and she'd be ruined.
Prosecutors hope Mia's testimony will convince the jury that Combs used forced labor as part of the criminal enterprise they allege he was operating. Combs denies all charges. Another key cooperating witness returning to the stand today, celebrity stylist Deontay Nash, who worked with Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs.
Deontay Nash is important for a number of reasons. One, he's employed by Sean Combs. He also provides insight to the violence that Cassie testified earlier in this case, corroborating much of what she said.
Donaldson, did you participate in any criminal conduct for Mr. Combs? Nash, yes. But Nash did not specify what crimes he allegedly committed.
During opening statements, the defense said that no one's going to take the stand and say, I was part of a criminal enterprise and I did crimes. And so when Nash was asked on cross-examination that exact thing, presumably the defense expected him to say no, but instead he said yes.
Combs denies running a criminal enterprise. Federal prosecutors have alleged Combs maintained coercive control over Cassie that caused her to engage in freak-offs that she did not desire. Nash also telling the jury he was around Cassie all the time and that he'd heard Combs personally threatening Cassie, that he would beat her ass, that he wouldn't put her music out, that he would get her parents fired from their jobs and he would send her sex tapes to their jobs. Nash testifying Cassie confided that Combs forced her into unwanted sex with male prostitutes, telling him, "I don't want to go to the hotel and freak off with him."
Deontay Nash said he has not filed a civil lawsuit against Sean Combs and has not made any kind of a demand for money. And I think federal prosecutors are hoping that undercuts part of what defense attorneys said in their opening statements, urging jurors to question the motives of why someone would testify against Sean Combs.
Mia will continue her testimony tomorrow. Court is expected to go several more weeks. If convicted on all charges, Combs faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. If you or someone you know is the victim of domestic violence and you need help, please call the Domestic Abuse Hotline at the number on your screen or go to the website, thehotline.org. For more on this story, watch Impact by Nightline, Diddy on Trial, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. When we come back, Quinta Brunson, the star of Abbott Elementary and one of Philadelphia's hometown heroes, gets her due and a big honor. And finally tonight, Abbott Elementary star Quinta Brunson's latest chapter in her hometown love affair. Here's ABC's Janae Norman.
Abbott Elementary's Quinta Brunson is back in Philadelphia.
Thank you for never allowing anyone to put your Philadelphia grit and resilience in a box.
The hometown where it all started, honoring her in the biggest way.
Congratulations on getting the key to the city.
Thank you.
What does that mean to you, that the work that you have done to spotlight Philly and all of that just being like coming back full circle to you?
It means that what I've done with Abbott, which will always feel very intimate, you know, it'll always just feel like me making a show in my apartment and hoping that someone picks it up. It does mean that it's bigger than I could have ever imagined.
Brunson returning to her alma mater, the Andrew Hamilton School, unveiling a new mural titled Blooming Futures.
Murals in this city are life-changing. Seeing one changes how you look at your city, how you look at yourself, how you look at your neighborhood, to help them see themselves, you know, on this big wall and see them as beautifully as that mural depicts them.
The vibrant work featuring actual students and teachers is a partnership with Mural Arts, a Philly-based art program Brunson herself was once a part of.
And the Emmy goes to Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary.
Now a two-time Emmy winner and the first Black woman to win Best Actress in a network comedy in over 40 years, Brunson says her success was far from luck.
I think growing up in a city like Philly, you start to learn that many people don't see past today. And if you can't see a future, a tomorrow at the very least, that has an effect on how you live your life. You have to be able to think there's something to wake up for tomorrow.
Our thanks to Janae. That's Nightline for this evening. Catch our full episodes on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.